She signed the divorce papers with trembling hands at the Christmas party, tears silently falling onto the white pages as laughter, music, and celebration continued all around her. No one stopped. No one noticed. To everyone in the room, she was just a quiet woman standing near the table. Another insignificant figure in a crowded holiday gathering. No one knew that the woman crying softly under the golden Christmas lights was a billionaire. The party was hosted in a luxurious hall filled with red and gold decorations, glowing fairy lights, and the scent of expensive wine and pine. Employees, business partners, and friends gathered in small groups, laughing loudly and exchanging gifts. Christmas music played in the background, cheerful and careless, completely out of sync with the moment unfolding near the corner of the room. That was where Aileen Carter stood, her shoulders tense, her face pale, her eyes swollen from holding back tears for far too long. Across from her stood her husband, Mark Carter, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, his expression calm and impatient, as if this was just another task he needed to complete before enjoying the party. On the table between them lay the divorce papers, neatly arranged, final, cold. "Just sign them, Aileen," said quietly, his voice low but firm. "There's no reason to make a scene. Let's finish this and move on." Aileen looked at the papers, then at the pen resting beside them. Her chest felt tight, as though something heavy was pressing down on her heart. She had imagined many endings to her marriage, but never this. Never surrounded by laughter and Christmas decorations. Never while pretending everything was fine. Her mind drifted back to the beginning, to the days when Mark had looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. Back when he listened to her, respected her, and promised that money, status, and ambition would never change him. She remembered how she had chosen to live simply, hiding her true identity, believing love should come before wealth. She had wanted to be loved for who she was, not for what she owned. Her fingers closed around the pen. They shook. A single tear fell, then another, landing on the paper and blurring the ink slightly. She took a slow breath and signed her name. Clean, clear, final. With every letter, it felt like she was letting go of a version of herself that had believed too much and trusted too deeply. Mark immediately picked up the papers, relief flashing across his face. "Good," he said. "That's done." He didn't ask if she was okay. He didn't apologize. He turned away, rejoining his friends with a drink in hand, smiling as if nothing significant had happened, as if a marriage hadn't just ended, as if a woman hadn't just had her heart broken. Aileen stood there for a moment longer, her eyes fixed on the empty space where Mark had been. Around her, people continued laughing, clinking glasses, talking about bonuses and vacations. A few glanced at her with mild curiosity, maybe even pity, assuming she was just another woman being left behind. None of them knew the truth. None of them knew that Aileen Carter controlled companies across continents, that her investments shaped markets, that her signature alone could move billions. She had built an empire, quietly, carefully, choosing privacy over attention, substance over headlines, and she had chosen love over power, until love failed her. She left the party without saying goodbye. Outside, snow fell gently, covering the city in white. The cold air hit her face, sharp and honest, and for the first time that night, she felt like she could breathe. She wiped her tears, straightened her coat, and stepped into the waiting car. The driver opened the door respectfully. "Where to, ma'am?" he asked. "Home," she replied calmly. As the car moved through the silent streets, Eileen took out her phone and sent a short message. Just 2 words. "It's done." The reply came almost immediately. "Understood. We'll proceed." That night marked the end of one life and the beginning of another. In the days that followed, Mark's world began to shift in ways he didn't understand. Meetings were cancelled. Investors hesitated. Deals that had once seemed guaranteed suddenly fell apart. His company's stock dipped unexpectedly. Advisors gave vague explanations, blaming the market, timing, or bad luck. Mark was frustrated, confused, and increasingly desperate. He told himself Eileen had been holding him back, that divorcing her was the right decision. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Meanwhile, Eileen returned to the life she had put on pause. Private meetings resumed. Legal teams activated strategies that had been waiting patiently. Partnerships were reevaluated. Support that had once been quietly extended was now quietly withdrawn. She did nothing out of revenge. She simply stopped protecting what was no longer hers. A few weeks later, the city buzzed with anticipation over a major global business summit. Leaders, investors, and CEOs from around the world gathered for the event. Mark attended, hoping to secure new backing and stabilize his declining reputation. The main hall fell silent when the keynote speaker was announced. "Please welcome our guest of honor," the host said proudly, "billionaire investor and CEO, Eileen Carter." Mark froze. The woman who walked onto the stage was confident, composed, and radiant. Her posture was strong, her expression calm, her presence commanding. This was not the quiet woman who had cried at a Christmas party. This was a leader, a force. As Eileen spoke, her voice was steady and clear. She talked about integrity, about respect, about the cost of underestimating people. She spoke about partnerships built on trust and relationships built on honesty. Every word carried weight. Mark sat frozen, his heart pounding. The truth crashed over him all at once. The woman he had dismissed, the woman he had humiliated, the woman he had divorced without a second thought. She had been the foundation he never bothered to understand. After the speech, the room erupted in applause. People rushed forward, eager to speak with her, to shake her hand, to earn her attention. Mark stood at the edge of the crowd, watching as the woman he once called his wife commanded the room effortlessly. He finally approached her. "Eileen," he said quietly, "I didn't know." She looked at him, her eyes calm, no anger, no sadness, just clarity. "You never asked," she replied, "and you never cared to know." She turned and walked away, and in that moment, Mark understood the true cost of what he had lost. The story spread quickly after that. People whispered about the Christmas party, about the divorce papers signed in tears, about how no one had known who she really was. It became a quiet legend, a reminder that strength is often silent, and power does not always announce itself. Eileen never spoke publicly about that night. She didn't need to. She had reclaimed her life, her identity, and her future. And every Christmas after that, while the world celebrated loudly, she remembered the night she had cried under bright lights, signed her name, and walked away from a life that no longer deserved her.